Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to do our in-cab. On our in-cab, the very first thing I'm going to do is start with my safety equipment. So my safety equipment starts with my seat belt. I want to ensure that it's not cut, cracked, or frayed. I have to demonstrate to my examiner that it does latch, it does unlatch, and it does latch properly. Now down here to my left, now Tim's not going to be able to show you this, I have a fire extinguisher. I need to make sure that it's fully charged, BC rated. It should be 5 pounds for normal freight and 10 pounds for hazmat. Now this truck runs on electrical fuses. The fuse box is right here, and my spare fuses are located in my ashtray. Now Tim's not going to be able to show you this. Are they here? I apologize. He will be able to show you this. These are my 3 reflective triangles. They're clean and in good working order. Now what I'm going to do is do my safe start. I want to make sure that my gear shifter's in neutral, my range selector is in the down position. I'm going to simply press in my clutch and fire up my truck. The first thing I noticed is that my ABS lights, they came on and they went off. My emergency, my low air pressure warning light's on, and it should kick off around 60 psi. Now you just saw that it went off because my air gauges are above 60. Now I'm just going to simply work left to right. So I've got my oil gauge, it's rising to normal operating levels. I've got my water gauge, rising to normal operating levels, and as you can see, it's not overheating. In here, I've got my voltmeter. It's reading 13.8 volts, which is good because it needs between 12 and 14 volts. Over here is my air pressure gauges. They're rising, and they're going to cut out at normal operating levels, which is about 120 to 140. Now, what I do is I stay in my dash. So I'm going to check my left turn signal, functioning properly. My right turn signal is functioning properly. My 4-ways are functioning properly. I'm going to turn on my low beams, which are located right here. Just look right in here. Changed. And my high beams. As you can tell, there they are, working and functioning properly. Now I'm going to simply step on out here. I'm going to test my horns, my city horn, and then I'll test my highway horn. I'm just going to press on it. I'm not going to do it because it's going to be really loud, but you press on it, it'll be very loud. You'll have fun doing that, trust me. Over here are my mirrors. They're properly mounted, secured, not cracked, damaged, or loose. They're clean, and yes, they are adjusted to me, the driver. Then I'm going to inspect my windshield. I want to ensure it's properly mounted, secured, not cracked, damaged, or loose. It is clean and free of any foreign obstructions. Then I'm going to check my seal. I want to make sure my seal is not cut, cracked, or frayed so nothing can leak in. Then I'm simply going to test my windshield wipers. I'm checking my wipers, my blades, and my fluid. So I'm simply going to push back, and as you can tell, the blades are functioning properly. They're not cut, cracked, or frayed, and it cleans the windshield nice and evenly. Now I'm going to check my heat and my defrost. It's right down here. So I'm going to simply turn it on to the defroster on. Yes, you do have to turn the heat on. Give it a second. Reach your hand up here, and I feel the warm air starting to blow out. That means my defroster is working properly. Now I'm simply going to switch on over to my heater, which blows here and down here. Simply going to put my hand up there. Yes, I do feel the warm air blowing out, which means my heater is functioning properly. Okay. Now I'm simply going to perform a tug test. I need to make sure that all my brakes are functioning properly. This one right here controls my tractor brake. The red one controls my trailer brake. And down here on the floor is my actual service brake. So the first thing I want to test is I'm just going to simply test my trailer brake. So what I'm going to do is just press my clutch, put it in the first gear. I'm going to release my tractor brake because I'm testing to see if my trailer brakes hold. I'm just going to simply slowly release off my clutch and I start to feel a little tug, which means that they're holding. Okay? Then I put it back into neutral, pull out my brake, release off my clutch. My trailer brakes are functioning properly. Now I'm going to test my tractor brake. Again, pressing my clutch, first gear. Now I'm simply going to release my trailer brake. I'm going to slowly release off the clutch. You feel that? That means my tractor brake is holding, which means everything is functioning properly. Now I need to test my service brake. What I'm going to do is simply push both my brakes in. I'm going to put this in a third gear. I'm simply going to pull forward at 5 miles an hour. When I stop the truck, I shouldn't see anything significant leaning to the left or to the right. So, third gear, release my tractor and my trailer brake. Simply release off the clutch. I'm going to go forward nice and slowly. I'm going to hit my brake. Boom. Nothing leaning to the left or to the right. Now I'm just going to put it back in neutral. And at this point, I'm going to let my air pressure build. I'm going to start to do my brake check. Now, the biggest part about pre-trip is your brake check when it comes to your examination. You cannot really fail pre-trip if you score an 80% or above. Meaning you hit all your parts, you said all your acronyms, you did exactly what we did on the video. You won't fail. The only time you can fail is if you do this brake check out of order. So we're going to really concentrate on putting it into the correct order. So I'm at full air pressure. All I'm simply going to do is put this truck into first gear, release my brakes, shut my truck off, and I'm going to turn it back to the on position. The on position is where all your gauges light up, but obviously the truck's not running. Now the first thing I'm going to do is I need to test my service brake for an air loss. In the truck, in these trucks, you want to hold down your brake for 1 minute. During that 1 minute, you shouldn't lose more than 4 psi. I simply hold my brake down. After a minute's up, I release off of it. And I look at my gauges. I didn't lose more than 4 psi, which means everything is functioning properly. Now, step 2. I've got to fan my brakes because I need to check to make sure that my low air pressure gauge comes on. If it's working properly, that gauge should come on like at or around 60 psi. So I fan my brakes. Boom. Now you notice the triangle came on and the 2 red lights came on, and they came on right at 60 psi. Okay, that means that your low air pressure is functioning properly. Now I need to test my emergency brakes. My emergency brakes should engage between 20 and 40 psi. That's the knobs that we just pushed in. Now you are not allowed to touch those knobs. You've pressed them in. You got to fan your brakes so they pop out. So notice I'm not touching my knobs. All I need to do is fan my brakes. Boom. Between 20 and 40 psi, you saw the knobs popped out. Now, that means that my emergency brakes are functioning properly. At the end of your pre-trip, at the end of doing your in-cab, the last thing you must and you have to say is that I've completed my pre-trip. And that is your complete pre-trip video. Good luck and study hard.